Well, happy Saturday, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. It's the 8th of July, 2023. We're live from One Bethlehem Plaza here in downtown Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It's actually day 5 of the Dog Days of Summer, which run from 3 July through 11 August here this year, 2023. So I thought we'd talk Christmas in July here, 170 days away. Hard to believe it's already more than half of the year done. But if you don't like hotter Christmases, you're not going to like our outlook here. So this is a week leading up to Christmas, and we have pretty much wall-to-wall heat compared to what we had last year, which was epically, brutally cold, obviously. So a much warmer Christmas ahead. And as Forrest Gump said, that's all we have to say about that for now. So with right now, we got El Nino. It's likely to peak here by fall. It's in the weak phase, heading toward a strong phase, probably about around October. And then most of the model guidance that you see on the right there shows it weakening in the fall season and then weakening maybe pretty rapidly as we go through the winter season. That'll be important. A weaker trend, going from moderate to weak El Nino in the winter months can lead to big nor'easters, and we do believe this will be a potentially much snowier winter here along the East Coast with, again, a more common nor'easter track. So definitely a threat for some bigger snowstorms, which we didn't really have here for quite some years now. So again, something to look forward to if you like winter snow. Looking at current drought conditions, made a little bit of an uptick improvement here with 52% of the country in dry to drought phases. 46% of the country would be about average. So again, some improvement here, but still a hair above average. Last year, 70% of the country was in dry to drought phases, so a huge improvement here compared to a year ago. This should make steady progress here as we get through the rest of this year, but again, it's been slow. It ticked up to about 47% of the country, so we'll see if we can make some more improvement here as we go throughout the year. Right now we have some Sahara dust coming off Africa here, so you see this animation of the oranges, yellows, and reds. Again, very thick dust in the higher atmosphere. It's not really at the surface as much as the higher atmosphere, but this tends to do two things. It suppresses hurricane activity development in the tropical Atlantic, and that certainly looks to be the case here for the next week or two. Also makes for some great sunsets. So Florida, you've got some waves of this coming your way, and again, could make for some nicer sunsets here in the evening. Look at a last week world summer here, weekending here tonight, 8 July 2023 here in the U.S. 1.2 cooler than last year, coolest in 8 years, still 14th warmest in 38 years, so above average national temperatures, but again, coolest in 8 years. 36% drier than last year, driest in 5, fifth driest in 38 years. Good news is we had some much needed rain in parts of the parched Kansas and parts of the east here. So again, some rain here where we need it. Up in Canada, again, warmest in 5 years, driest in 5 years, so pretty warm up there. UK was the cool spot, coolest in 3 years, and very hot again across Russia and China. Maps inset left are the trends versus average. We look at this week here, again, mid-July, getting into mid-July here in the U.S., still 0.6 cooler than last year, but that's about 18th warmest in 38 years, so near average national temperatures for the U.S. overall. Precip, again, about 5% drier than last year, driest in 20 years. Good news is we are still going to see some thunderstorm activity in the Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois areas, and Missouri where they need it desperately. We've made a lot of improvements here in the east. We were headed toward drought here in Pennsylvania, but again, much needed rain here the last few weeks. So again, our drought is probably over here as we get another 1, 2, 3 inches of rain even here today. Maps inset left are the precip trends versus average, and temperature map there in the middle is versus last year. Still dealing with some of this Canadian smoke, these fires, just again, until we get some heavy rain up there in northwest Canada and eastern Canada to put out these fires that have burned well over 10 million plus acres of forest here. So again, as the jet stream dips, as it is doing this week, again, some of that smoke heads into the Midwest. This is only through the 9th, through tomorrow, but again, some of that smoke is going to be heading back into the U.S. here later this week. Looking at next week here, getting into third week of July here, it's still 1 degree cooler than last year, but that's still 5th hottest in 38 years. So it looks like it'd be a hot week. Again, just not as hot as last year. So again, temperature generally cooler, but again, still hot. Precip 65% drier than last year, #1 driest in 38 years. We'll see about that. Get a lot of rain here, potentially along the East Coast, thunderstorm type activity. Some more spotty rain in Iowa. Kansas desperately needs some as well. So again, more spotty thunderstorm activity, hit or miss. This may be a little bit underdone here in terms of precip. Models seem to be struggling with just how much rain will fall here in the more extended time frame. We look at U.S. year-over-year temperatures here for this summer here, so definitely going to be a cooler summer as expected. June was just off the scale, coolest in 19 years nationally, well below average national temperatures. July, we're still trending cooler than last year, after last year's hottest in 10 years. August looks to be the coolest in 6 years, after last year's hottest in 27 years. So just in overall a cooler trend doesn't mean it's going to be necessarily below average everywhere, but again, just cooler trends means less demand for the things you and I like to buy. Hot summer seasonal categories. Air conditioners certainly are getting clobbered here after the cool June. Not a lot of demand for new AC units. People generally suffer through some heat and humidity until we get up in those high 90s and hundreds. We're really just not going to see the high demand for AC. July's a little bit of a better trend here, but again, still cooler than last year. So if we look at the overall outlook here now, so this is a 2-week world scale, 9 through 22 July. Cool spot will be there in the upper plains, upper Midwest, a hot spot more toward the southwest of the U.S. and eastern Canada relative to eastern Canada. UK continues to be cool. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week, and we will be back here again this time next week.